All right, let's dive straight into this explainer and unpack the truly colossal, unprecedented behemoth that is the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Look, if you follow the sport, you already know it's going to be huge. But honestly, when you sit down and look at the raw data, the sheer scale of what's about to hit North America is kind of hard to wrap your head around.
To really grasp this tournament, we've got to start with the staggering macro numbers. We're looking at a massive expansion here, 48 teams slugging it out across 104 matches over 39 days. And they are doing it across 3 massive nations, the United States, Mexico, and Canada. That is a gigantic leap from the 32 teams in 64 matches we just saw back in 2022.
So if looking at this dizzying new expanded format makes your head spin trying to figure out how anyone is supposed to keep track of the whole shebang, hey, you are absolutely not alone. We're talking 16 different host cities spanning from Vancouver down to Mexico City and over to New York. Just keeping track of the brackets, let alone the physical travel logistics, is practically a tournament in itself.
And that brings us to the absolutely crucial question we're going to solve today. How do you actually navigate this historic, continent-wide event without losing your mind or, completely emptying your wallet? Because let's be real, snagging a match ticket is really only step one. Actually getting there, crossing borders, and surviving matchday transit requires a serious, ironclad game plan.
So here's our roadmap. 1. The 48-team mega tournament. 2. The new knockout format. 3. Tri-country travel and visas. 4. Transit and parking costs. And 5. Beyond the stadiums.
Section 1. The 48-team mega tournament. From 32 to 48. The biggest World Cup yet.
Let's see how this sheer size reshapes the new tournament structure, starting with the group stages. The field is now sliced up into 12 groups of 4 teams. That means every single side still gets their 3 guaranteed group matches. But to put that into perspective, just getting through this initial group stage is going to require a whopping 72 matches across the continent, running from the opening kickoff on June 11th all the way to June 27th.
Moving right along to Section 2, the new knockout format, navigating the bracket.
Now, the math definitely gets a little wonky when you have 12 groups instead of the traditional 8. To compress 48 teams down to a single champion, FIFA had to introduce a brand new stage, the round of 32. This single elimination sprint runs from June 28th to July 3rd, and once you're in this phase, it's do or die. A tie after 90 minutes means extra time, and then, the dreaded penalty shootout.
This brilliantly illustrates the new hierarchy for advancing. The top 2 teams from each of the 12 groups automatically move on, right? Simple enough. But 12 times 2 only gets us 24 teams. To build a proper 32-team knockout bracket, we are left with exactly 8 open spots.
So how do we fill them? Well, the 8 best third-place teams across all groups will snag those lifelines. And here is a critical detail for 2026. To rank those third-place teams, FIFA is using the usual tiebreakers, like total points and goal difference. But for the very first time at a World Cup, head-to-head records will act as the primary tiebreaker for teams level on points. Literally every single goal and every single matchup is going to matter.
Which brings us to Section 3. Tri-county travel and visas, crossing borders. Now that we've solved the bracket puzzle, let's zoom in on the physical reality of navigating those borders. Because with 16 host cities scattered across 3 enormous countries, you're probably going to be crossing international lines. And listen up, because this is vital. Your match ticket absolutely does not guarantee you entry into any of these countries. For the US, you've got to secure either an ESTA waiver if you're eligible for a 90-day stay, or you have to grind through the standard B1, B2 visa process, which means filling out a DS-160 and doing an in-person interview. And just so you're aware, Canada and Mexico have similarly strict requirements, like the ETA for Canada.
Now, if you are traveling to the U.S. and you do require that in-person visa interview, there's a brand new voluntary system called the FIFA Pass. Opting in can score you priority access to an expedited visa appointment. But, and consider this a massive warning, your official ticket details, right down to the exact spelling of your name and your passport number, must match your FIFA Pass opt-in perfectly. If it doesn't, the system is going to reject you flat out.
Honestly, to avoid the nightmare of massive summer border lines with millions of fans moving around, you should aggressively look into trusted traveler programs right now. Depending on your nationality, using apps like Mobile Passport Control for the US, Nexus for crossing between the US and Canada, or Mexico's e-gates will absolutely fast-track your customs clearance. It'll literally save you hours of waiting.
All right, Section 4, transit and parking costs, the matchday reality check.
So, you're legally inside the host country. Awesome. Now you actually have to get to the stadium. And variable pricing is in full effect here. Yeah, you read that number right. Matchday parking at venues like SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles is going to run you an eye-watering $300. And honestly, that's assuming you can even manage to snag a spot.
The contrast across the continent is actually staggering. Just compare it. You can take a highly efficient 60-cent or 10 peso metro ride straight to the gates of Estadio Azteca in Mexico City. Meanwhile, you're paying $300 to park in LA. Or get this, for the World Cup final at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey, there are literally 0 on-site parking spots for fans. None. You have to take the NJ Transit train, which will cost you around $105 round trip and requires a mandatory physical wristband.
Now, if you're at a venue where you absolutely have to drive, remember the golden rule for 2026. Direct stadium drop-offs are strictly prohibited. You can't just hop in an Uber and jump out at the front gate. On top of that, you must pre-purchase your parking spot through FIFA's partner, JustPark. They will not take cash at the lots, and your reservation has to be linked to the exact email tied to your official match tickets. No exceptions.
Let's wrap up with Section 5, Beyond the Stadiums, Uniting at the Fan Festivals.
Okay, let's step away from all the logistical hurdles and rulebooks for a second and look at the ultimate unifier for this sprawling event, the FIFA Fan Festivals. These epic, mostly free festival hubs have hosted over 40 million fans historically, and they'll be popping off in all 16 host cities. You can watch games on giant screens at Mexico City's historic Zocalo, gather at Atlanta's Centennial Olympic Park, or go crazy at the LA Memorial Coliseum. They are designed to bring local food, amazing music, and diverse cultures together right in the cultural heart of these cities.
So, we've unpacked the staggering scale of the new 48-team bracket, the very real hurdles of crossing 3 international borders, and how to outsmart those insane transit and parking fees. You know how the tournament works, and you know how to survive the trip. So the only question left is, with 104 matches spreading across the continent, where are you going to be when